This is our CURE project presented by Krina, Maya, Parker, and Kane. Phosphate is a chemical derived from phosphoric acid that causes an excessive amount of growth in algae. Phosphate is the main pollutant for water pollution. It enters waters through discharge from sewage such as runoff from farms. This causes eutrophication, increasing algae and decreasing the oxygen in the water for other organisms that throws off the aquatic ecosystem. Nitrate is the main pollutant of potable water resources. Nitrate pollution has become a big problem for global health. Water contamination from increasing usage of nitrogen fertilizers and wastewater leakage. This pollution can raise the risk of cancer and pregnancy defects. This is our research question that we will further explain in the next couple of slides. Health risks of phosphates and nitrates in water. What does it affect the most? What risk can come from contact with contaminated water?
Too much phosphorus can cause increased growth of algae, and it can also develop harmful bacteria. And humans and animals can be exposed to these bacteria just by through skin contact and swimming, breathing in like droplets or mist that can contain these toxins, swallowing water, or eating food or supplements that can contain these toxins. Infants are put at a higher risk to experience the health effects from overexposure from nitrates than most. That puts pregnant women at a second high risk. People with anemia or recreational drug users are also at an increased risk to suffer health effects. Baby blue syndrome is the major disease that could develop in response to an overexposure in infants' digestive system with a type pH, and their fetal hemoglobin makes them more susceptible to contacting the syndrome.
Look at the Hogan Lake, you might notice that water has a yellowish color. This lake is likely human made, which is common in this part of Georgia. Around the lake, there are sedimentary rocks like sandstone and shale covered with a different layer of soil. You will see lots of pigment style trees and hills surrounding the lake. So understanding Hogan Lake's geography help us understand its water better. Now I'm going to talk about the water sample information that I took as a sample. The area of the land around the lake called the watershed. It's crucial because whatever happens there affects the lake. It includes runoff from the canals and nearby streams. It's like the lake's neighborhood and we need to manage it well to keep the lake healthy. That's why we are regularly test the water in the Hogan Lake. We check the things like pH, how much oxygen is dissolved in the water, nutrition, clarity, and if there are any pollutants. These tests help us understand how the lake is doing and if there are any problems we need to fix. The data collected from these sampling efforts provides insights into overall state of the lake environment and identifies any potential threats to water's purity. Let's talk about why the phosphate level in Hogan Lake are so high. The phosphorus which comes from things like detergent, sewage, and the runoff from the farms can get into the water and make the phosphate levels go up. This might happen because of lot of farming or so many houses putting like just water into the lake's neighborhood. Also, there aren't many ways for the lake to naturally get rid of the phosphorus, unlike the nitrogen. So it builds up in the lake over the time, especially in the soil. This can lead to a big problem where too many plants grow and the oxygen in the water gets low. It's like a cycle. Plants release the phosphorus, which makes the pollution worse and keeps the phosphorus level high in the water. Now I'm going to talk about why the nitrate levels in the Hogan Lake are low. Nitrate, which comes from the sources like air, water waste, and the runoff from the farms, usually finds its way into the water bodies. However, nitrate can also change into the nitrogen gas and leaves the water if certain progress uh, denitrification happens. This helps reduce the nitrate level because it lowers the amount of the bacteria. While places like farms, cities, and agriculture can release a lot of nitrogen into the water bodies, if we control or reduce these inputs, nitrate level in the lakes can stay low.
In our nitrate samples, we put the data on a graph to find the relationship between concentration and absorption, and we use the line best fit to find the nitrate concentration, which is X.
After scanning the stock phosphate samples in the spectrometer, we entered the data into a graph to measure the exact correlation between phosphate concentration and the absorption. Using the equation for the line of best fit on the graph, we were able to determine the phosphate concentration of our water sample by substituting the measured absorption and solving for the unknown X value. These tube samples are from our phosphate lab using the colorimetric method. Starting from the left, you can see the samples gradually get bluer due to the gradual amounts of phosphate concentration we pipetted into each solution. The last tube contains our water sample. The phosphate concentration was 0.09, placing it in between the third and the fourth tube. And on the right side, you can see the equations that we used to get that number. These flasks contain samples made from stock solution of nitrate to create azo dye solutions. Starting from the left, the samples begin in a light purple color and gradually get darker, stopping at the fourth flask. The fifth flask was an error that dropped in absorbance. Comparing all 5 samples to the very last one, which is our sample, shockingly meant our sample water had very little nitrate. It was very unexpected since the activities that happened in the source area would point to a higher level, thus more coloring in the sample. And over here you can see the same process used for the phosphate, the equations from the line of best fit here to get our nitrate concentration.
In conclusion, the difference in Hogan water test high phosphate and low nitrate concentrations points to a complicated web of interrelated processes affecting the dynamics of nutrient availability in the lake's environment. Low nitrate concentrations may be caused by effective nitrogen cycle processes and restricted nitrogen inputs, but elevated phosphate levels are probably caused by considerable phosphorus inputs and slower phosphorus cycling rates. To correct nitrogen imbalances and preserve Hogan Lake's water quality, effective watershed management techniques such as nutrient management plans and land use planning are crucial. To minimize the pollution of nutrients and maintain the natural integrity of the lake and its surrounding watershed, specific measures and regular surveillance are required. These are our sources. Thank you.